Did Jesus have lunch with Abraham? If I was to tell you I had lunch with Alexander the Great or Emperor Akbar couple of hundred years back, would you believe me? Or if I was to tell you I had lunch with someone just 50 to 100 years from now, you wouldn't believe me either. But Jesus claimed to have lunch with Abraham 2000 years before he was even born. How is that possible? Before we have a look at the portion of the scripture, let's take a quick look at the context. We are looking at John chapter 8. Here we see Jesus making a few claims about himself. Let's look at a few of these claims and see how the Jews reacted to these claims. Jesus said, "If you hold on to my teaching, you are truly my disciples. Then you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Very truly, I tell you, everyone who sins is a slave of sin. Now, a slave does not have permanent residence in the family, but a son belongs to it forever. So, if the Son sets you free, you are free indeed." The Jews responded to this by saying, "We are Abraham's descendants and have never been slaves of anyone. How can you say that we shall be set free?" Jesus replies to them saying, "If you were Abraham's children, then you would do what Abraham did." Let me repeat, if you were Abraham's children, then you would do what Abraham did. Further in this video, we will see what Abraham did when he met Jesus. But before we go there, let's analyze one rebuttal that the Jews gave to Jesus. They said, "We are Abraham's descendants and have never been slaves to anyone." Is that true? Absolutely not. We know various empires that either ruled over Israel and have taken the Jews captive to foreign lands. Israel was under slavery in Egypt for over 400 years. We know of the Babylonian Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire that ruled over Israel for centuries and even during Jesus' time. So either the Jews did not have a proper grasp over history or at least pretended not to have. Now let's look at John chapter 8. Here we see Jesus talking. He's saying, "Very truly I tell you, whoever obeys my word will never see death." At this the Jews exclaimed, "Now we know that you are demon possessed. Abraham died and so did the prophets. Yet you say that whoever obeys your word will never taste death. Are you greater than our father Abraham? He died and so did the prophets. Who do you think you are?" Jesus replied, "If I glorify myself, my glory means nothing. My Father, whom you claim as your God, is the one who glorifies me. Though you do not know him, I know him. If I say I did not, I would be a liar like you. But I do know him and obey his word." He goes on to say, "Your father Abraham rejoiced at the thought of seeing my day. He saw it and he was glad." To this the Jews replied, "You are not even 50 years old and you have seen Abraham." Jesus answered, "Very truly I tell you, before Abraham was born, I am." At this they picked up stones to stone him, but Jesus hid himself, slipping away from the temple grounds. Now let's try to answer the question that Jesus posed to the Jews earlier in this chapter. If you were Abraham's children, then you would do what Abraham did. Now the big question is this: what did Abraham do? Firstly, in the passage, Jesus claims that your father Abraham rejoiced at the thought of seeing my day. He saw it and he was glad. Jesus here claimed that Abraham rejoiced to see Jesus and he saw Jesus and he was glad. What else did Abraham do? We will look at it a little later. The natural reaction of any Jew would have been, "You are not even 50 years old and you have seen Abraham who lived 2000 years back." Now let's look at what Jesus was talking about. There is more than one instance in the Old Testament when the Lord appeared to Abraham. But let's have a look at one instance from Genesis chapter 18. I'm reading from verse 1 onwards. "The Lord appeared to Abraham near the great trees of Mamre, while Abraham was sitting at the entrance of his tent in the heat of the day. Abraham looked up and saw 3 men standing nearby. When he saw them, he hurried from the entrance of his tent to meet them and bowed low to the ground. He said, 'If I have found favor in your eyes, my Lord, do not pass your servant by. Let a little water be brought, and then you may all wash your feet and rest under this tree. Let me get you something to eat so you can be refreshed and then go on your way now that you have come to your servant. Very well, they answered, do as you say. Jesus in John chapter 8 claims to be the same God who appeared to Abraham among the trees of Mamre. From the Genesis portion, we saw Abraham recognizing God and the two angels with him and preparing a sumptuous meal. This is what Abraham, the father of faith, did when he met Jesus. The verse also says Abraham bowed low to the ground. In other words, he worshipped Jesus. Let's look at another astounding claim that Jesus made about himself. When he heard the Jews say, "You are not even 50 years old and you have seen Abraham who lived 2000 years back." Jesus answered, "Very truly I tell you, before Abraham was born, I am." Here, Jesus not only claims to be existing before Abraham, but also uses the title I am. He claims that he was the same God who appeared to Moses in the burning bush. We know that God introduces himself to Moses as I am in the burning bush incident. We worship this Jesus, the great I am, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the God of Moses, and he is our God. Hope this study has been a blessing. May the Lord richly bless you.